Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you like this episode, please remember to hit the like button and leave a comment or two, then subscribe and click on the bell to receive notifications of whenever we release new videos. Also, please remember to share them to your social media. Welcome back to Scary Bear Attacks. Today's episode takes us to the northern shore of the Great Slave Lake near Yellowknife, Northwest Territories in Canada. The geography of this area consists of rocky land shaped by untold eons of glacial activity. As the glaciers retreat, they left a rolling land pocked by thousands of ponds and lakes. The subarctic climate has long, snowy, cold winters and short, warm summers. Boreal forests sprawl for uninterrupted miles, jutting from between rocky outcroppings and along bodies of water. Black and white spruce, along with quaking aspen, rise above bushes like Labrador tea and dwarf birch. Blueberry and cloudberries hold their own in the competition for life, offering up their fruit in season. The climate and flora support only a handful of species, being limited to moose and caribou. The predators of this area include wolves and black bears. Now, wolves don't face added difficulty in winter, but the short summers leave black bears a brief period in which to gather the needed calories hibernation will demand. On June 2, 2001, 18-year-old Kyle Harry and 5 of his friends were excited about plans they'd made for a camping trip along the shores of Prosperous Lake. He was a resident of Yellowknife and was a junior at Sir John Franklin High School. Kyle had developed an appreciation of nature and the scenery of his corner of the world. The young man was interested in computers and wanted to be a youth counselor. He was described as respectful and quiet by his teachers and friends. The friends knew that they would only have so many days that would allow them to enjoy time together in the woods during summer. Their camping trip was a great way for the kids to celebrate their friendship and unwind a bit. As they set up their tents, the peace of the area chased away the bustle of their small-town life. The campsite they chose was frequented by locals and wasn't known for any trouble or problems. It was a familiar and popular location, but events that day would profoundly impact that impression in a terrifying way. After enjoying, laughing, and relaxing around the campfire, each member of the party began winding down for the night. I could find no source indicating that campers had brought along a firearm or bear spray, so it is concluded that they likely didn't pack either. Crawling into his tent, Kyle folded his sleeping bag back and pushed himself into the comfortable warmth. It wasn't long before his energetic mind slipped into slumber one last time. A blissful night's rest behind them, Kyle and his 14-year-old friend Pamela Kanatsiak were milling about after the rest of their party had decided to return to Yellowknife. Pamela and Kyle had decided to stay at camp and enjoy the quiet together. Unbeknownst to the campers, a black bear had somehow come across their camp. It isn't clear if remnants of food or other attractants were left out, but something brought this hungry bear to their camp, and now it sampled alluring scents and odors. The bear's timing couldn't have been better or worse, depending on your perspective. Just about noon, the two noticed a thin black bear approaching their campsite from the direction of the highway. It was about 50 yards away when they spotted it, so the couple decided to put everything into their tent to keep the bear from damaging their belongings. They quickly grabbed their cooler and other items and hurriedly placed them in the tent. Upon finishing, they turned around to see the bear was now only a few feet from them at the tent's entrance. Now, prevailing wisdom says you should never run from a bear, but that's easy to say when you aren't standing so close to one. The kids panicked, with Kyle sprinting one way and Pamela dashing the opposite direction in an attempt to get away from the bear. As they fled, Pamela and Kyle decided to try to get to the top of a small ridge, with Pamela leading by a few yards. A mere 200 yards into their retreat, the bear caught up to Kyle and pulled him down from behind. Still climbing the ridge, Pamela turned back upon hearing Kyle screaming. She could see the bear standing over him as it bit and clawed him. He yelled at her to go get help, so she turned and ran toward the highway. Passers-by soon found the girl and gave her a ride to the hospital back in town. As her injuries were being treated, Pamela relayed the details and location of the bear attack and urged wildlife and police officers to help Kyle. They rushed to the campsite only to find a horrific sight. Kyle's motionless body lay amongst the bushes. His left arm had been horribly chewed and partially eaten. As they examined him further, they could see the bear had consumed part of his lower back. The rest of his body was scratched and bitten in several places as well. As Kyle's body was loaded for delivery to the coroner, wildlife and law enforcement officers discussed how to handle this bear. They quickly secured the campsite and sent other campers home. Officers found 2 different bear tracks at the campsite and knew at least one of them was the bear that had killed Kyle. After a brief meeting, a plan was developed to put an end to this bear before it could kill anyone else. Officers placed culvert and snare traps baited with rancid meat around the campsite and put the area surrounding it under surveillance. Helicopters laden with infrared scanners searched for the bear's heat signature. Later that evening, a bear was spotted nearby, but the officer couldn't get a good shot before it disappeared. On June 5th, the bear was shot by the officers, and a second that fit the description provided by the campers was spotted nearby. A carefully placed shot brought this bear down, and its body was taken for analysis. During the necropsy, investigators used measurements from the bear's teeth and a bullet retrieved from its carcass to conclude that they had killed the culprit. Kyle's flesh was pulled from the bear's stomach for added assurance. That isn't the end of the story regarding the condition of this bear. It was found to be gaunt and underweight. It was suffering from injuries inflicted by another bear a mere few days prior to it attacking Kyle and Pamela. Kyle was buried in a heartfelt ceremony a few days later, leaving his friends and family to mourn his loss. They felt robbed of an intelligent and considerate young man with an abundance of potential. As for the motivations for attacking Kyle and Pamela, it's clear the bear had done so out of hunger and desperation. It didn't bother claiming the food the campers had left in the cooler, and it was not protecting an animal carcass it had cached. There was no mention of cubs being observed in the area. Speaking of cubs, our Cub Tier membership on Patreon, linked below, will give you ad-free early access to our episodes, and the $3 per month goes a long way in helping me continue to produce educational and entertaining content like this. The Northwest Territories host a population of black bears estimated to be between 5,000 and 10,000 in number. With wilderness spanning thousands of square miles around the lakes, bears have access to untold sources of food. On the rare occasion bear attacks do occur here, they're frequently due to malnourished, injured, or otherwise desperate bears seeking people as prey. After reviewing the facts surrounding this episode, I'm left with a few questions for you. Why do you think the bear pursued Kyle and Pamela instead of consuming the food in their tent? Should wildlife officers set up game cameras to keep tabs on bears visiting campsites? Would this attack have been prevented by the use of bear spray or a firearm? I will gladly read and reply to your thoughts, so post them in the comments section below and let's talk about it. Thank you for watching Scary Bear Attacks. If you've enjoyed this episode, please consider clicking on the like button and clicking on the bell icon. We'll help you know when we post our new episodes. Posting our video links to your social media profiles furthers awareness, and it's fun. We slashed our prices in our merch store, linked below, so check out the bargains there while you shop. As a member of our human community, remember to adventure bravely and be careful out there, especially in bear country.